right, well, let's move on to the next one. And this one is financial. And the reason why I still put it closer to this more subtle forms of abuse is because it can be invisible, especially in the initial stages. Because if they're good, and I've been with one for 9 years who was very good, very sophisticated, kind, after they enmesh with you and they take their time. He was good because he took his time. He didn't rush things, right? So it was difficult for me to figure him out. And plus I was 19 years old when I got involved with it. So, what did I know? Coming from a very volatile family to begin with. So these sorts of things were almost normal to me. So once I started to, make some money and get credit cards, suddenly they were beginning to manifest all sorts of financial problems and have me pay for things and say, well, I'll pay you back. Well, one thing led to the other. And by the time I was 25, I was in a really big debt that wasn't even mine. And plus I was at the time when I was also, just early in my career, which really ties well with a second form of financial abuse that is really important. I was early in my career that I did not really enjoy. Say, I studied journalism and media, and I wanted to write. I wanted to be a journalist, or I wanted to work for the television. But I was more into the writing part, and I was getting awards, I was getting recognition in school. And so I wanted to really go in that direction. It gave me happiness. And he just convinced me to not do that. There's no money in it. We were living in Silicon Valley at the time, and it was experiencing one of those booms. And so, of course, I went to work for a technology company. And the other thing that really convinced me to do it with the money situation was that I would be able to pay off that debt faster. Well, it's not really the case, because the truth is you can't be successful unless you do what's right for you, unless you do what you love, And so one of the things that these people do is, if they want to really enmesh you with them and imprison you essentially, is besides leeching off of your financial situation, your income, taking your income from you, they will also prevent you from doing what you love, because it's so much harder to be successful. So it's kind of a paradox, right? Because on one hand, they want you to make money because they can use that too. But on the other hand, they don't want you to get too successful so you don't fly out of the nest, right? And have too much fun. So this is something that happened to me, happens to a lot of people. And yeah, and then there's another form of abuse that I've heard, financial abuse that I've heard. That's when it gets really obvious. It may take some time, but it's when the abuser just says, really plays, this is where the victim card is very, very successful and common, is when they just say, they can't do it, they're sick, they're unable to work anymore, they're going to just take a month and figure things out. Meanwhile, you support them, and then 1 month turns into 3, into 4 and 5. Before you know it, they have their feet up, smoking pot, and watching movies all day long while you are trying to support the two of you. Yeah, that happens. And when you add kids, it gets even more complicated, because now we have a tremendous burden on yourself, and escaping from that situation is very difficult. And I believe it is done on purpose and for that exact reason, which is to keep you enslaved, keep you imprisoned. If you are in that situation, there is a way out. First thing you need to do, in my opinion, is in secret have your own bank account. Get a mailbox, maybe, to get your mail there. But open a mailbox, and open a bank account and start putting away even a little bit of money every month as you're formulating a plan of escape. It is going to really tremendously help you. Perhaps you can even have some of your friends help you fundraise your escape fund, right? You'll be amazed what begins to happen once you begin to share your situation with other people, and especially when you find your crew, the people who really care about you, because you definitely want to be wary about who you share this information with. Because if you share it with the wrong people, the covert narcs or borderlines, they're going to use it against you. They might even go behind your back to the abuser and tell them what you're planning to do. If you share it with the people who are, nice and they're friendly, but they have never experienced this before, they're going to doubt you, and they're going to doubt you and make you doubt yourself. So I wouldn't share that with anyone else. If you really don't have anyone to share with, write in a journal, write down your thoughts. You'd be amazed at how much clarity comes after you express things. And of course, there are support groups. And Dana Morningstar from Thrive After Abuse is fabulous at bringing people together in a spirit of mutual healing. And she has, I think, 2 or 3 support groups. So I highly recommend looking into that. All right, moving on to number 5, verbal abuse.